From Eureka Entertainment comes the heroic bloodshed movie that I'd never heard of, and I don't know why I'd never heard of this because it's quite good. Flaming Brothers from 1987 stars Chow Yun-fat, Alan Tang, and Patricia Ha, directed by Cheung. This is a Blu-ray release. The film is 102 minutes long. Screenplay by Wong Kar-wai, who went on to some very respectable things, and as a director as well. And the audio is optional Cantonese audio, original audio, or English dub. At this time, they were not shooting sync sound in Hong Kong for Hong Kong production, so either way it's dubbed. So whichever you prefer is what you're going to get. This was a Golden Harvest release originally. Golden Harvest put out a lot of great stuff. They were the home of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. And basically the story goes I'm not going to tell you the whole story. It goes something like this. Young orphan on the street, young Chow Yun-fat. A young orphan on the street is helped out by a little girl who works at a convent or a nunnery or something like that, and gives him food. And he is sort of a street urchin. Basically, he meets up with another slightly older little boy who's also a street urchin, and they bond together, and they see some criminals beat the crap out of some other criminals, and they're like, I want to be like that guy who's beating the crap out of other people and not getting the crap beaten out of him. So we flash forward then to them as adults, and they are basically crime bosses. They run a club, they're opening a new club, and they pay off cops, and they're in the nefarious world of the underworld. And eventually somebody decides there's a conflict, and somebody basically says, I think I want you to work for me, but first you got to do this. You got to do this job in Taiwan. You need to buy me some guns. So I'm not telling you the whole story. The older brother, Alan Tang, goes off to do that. Chow Yun-fat decides to find the little girl who used to help him, and she's still doing similar charitable work, and he strikes up a romance, and basically their life of, flaming brothers together starts to diverge a little bit. Chow Yun-fat decides, I think I want to walk the straight and narrow. I want to get married and have a life with my wife, and you can go off and you can have the full criminal enterprise. And they go their separate ways, and we see a little of that. We see a little bit of I think this was shot in Macau, so either a Hong Kong or a Macau 7-Eleven in 1987, if you ever wondered what that looked like. And interspersed throughout this melodrama, which Hong Kong movies were known for in this period, there's some goofy comedy. You see Chow Yun-fat in heavy face makeup, lady face makeup, lip-syncing along to Anita Mui's cover of Sheena Easton's Strut in front of some elderly people for some reason. And you get to see all of his life and his ups and downs. And then you see Alan Tang in the serious world of criminality, murder, gunplay. So this film this pendulum swings hard back and forth. You get very silly comedy with some of the stuff Chow Yun-fat is involved in, and then you get very serious stuff at times, and you get tragedy and melodrama, and you get insane gunplay. Don't think this is not an action movie. And when I was watching, I'm like, oh, this is going to be more melodrama. Then when the action kicks in, it's like, oh my God. It's insane car stunts and fisticuffs and a lot of gunplay. And the gunplay is copious. It's a lot of guys doing this and getting shredded. It's a lot of really meaty squib hits, shall we say. And it leads up to a really insane finale. So like any good Hong Kong action movie, if at any point you think, oh, this is kind of veering, the last 10 minutes will square up magnificently, and this film does. So I really quite like this, as for all of those things. I mean, Hong Kong comedy can get to be very goofy. Hong Kong melodrama can get very melodramatic. Somebody passes away and there's the montage of all the good times. They were doing that well into the 90s, really. And it's a really good film, and I love Chow Yun-fat, and he's great. And I was just really, really shocked when this came across my door that I'd never heard of it. And then after watching it, I'm like, why is it that nobody ever talks about this one? They always talk about the John Woo movies, and Full Contact, the Ringo Lam stuff, but never this. I thought it was quite good. Not as good as those other films, but maybe my feeling toward this is, why have I never heard of a film that's as good as this is, as opposed to this is one of the best? Anyway, those are my thoughts. It's a very good Hong Kong crime melodrama with some comedic flourishes. So extras. We get an audio commentary by Mike Leader and Arne Venema, who are great. They've been doing a lot of commentaries on Hong Kong releases for various labels. They're two guys that live in Hong Kong and have worked in the Hong Kong film industry for decades. So they know all the players, they know all the places. They can tell you how things are different now in terms of culture and prices of things and locations and all of the behind the scenes and in front of the camera personnel in these films. So they're always very welcome when I see they're doing a commentary, and they keep it cheeky. They take it, they get a little dishy at times, and they have a good time with it. They always will sing along to the Golden Harvest opening theme. You get CFKX Flaming Brothers locations. That is Mr. Venema going on locations around, going around the locations of Hong Kong, Macau, where they, maybe even Thailand, or Taiwan, where they shot this film, and showing you then and now what these places look like, which I'm endlessly fascinated by. It's not just the imagery, but he talks about what the area was like at the time and how things have changed and what the area is like now. That's 31 minutes, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. You get an interview with Cheung, the director of the film. This is an archival interview from probably late 90s, maybe early 2000s, quite a while ago. I think he was just talking about Chow Yun-fat starting to make films in America at that point, so this would have put it at late 90s. That is 45 minutes long, and he talks about his entire life and career, and then, working in the Hong Kong film industry and Hong Kong film associations that he was part of. So really interesting in terms of not a lot of specifics about this film so much, but this guy's career as a whole and the industry as a whole, if you're a fan like I am of that period. You get alternate credits. It's 3 minutes of the English language version's credits and 2 minutes of a trailer, which seems to cut off a little abruptly, but it is the original Hong Kong trailer. So packaging. So it is in one of the Eureka slip cases, which slips to reveal different artwork, front and back. And we crack her open and we get on the inside. That is a booklet, and it is a reversible, well, not a reversible cover. It's a cover that shows you British style, and Radiance is a British company, that shows you a little something on the inside. And true to form, this is region A and B, which means this will play in Europe. If you've got a player if you're in Europe and you've got a Blu-ray player, throw it in. And if you're in North America, it'll also just play. The booklet features, let's see, an essay, Hong Kong Godfathers, A Brief History of Heroic Bloodshed by Camille Zaurin. And it is nicely, not to give anything away, but, a lot of guys die in this film. It is nicely illustrated with stills from this new transfer, not just stills that are taken elsewhere. And that is several pages long. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time on that while I read that essay, which I haven't actually read yet. Very good film, very much worth picking up if you're a fan of the classic Hong Kong cinema like I am. Flaming Brothers.